Pause. Okay, there we go. So we're going to show you some features on iOS. It's 15.4 on the iPhone, and it's OS iPad 15.4 on iPad. Now here's this site. You can see the screen. It's the ImmuNet for the public. And this is what you want to go to. And I will put the links in a note that I will, publish afterwards. But here where it says, get your vaccination record with my IR. And that's what you want to click on. And you can go to this My IR mobile portal and register. Now, I've already registered, but you can see it's pretty easy. First name, last name, email, you enter a password, and then you sign up. And I'm going to log in here so you can see what it looks like and what you need to do. Now, my internet has been slow today, which does not make me happy. And you'll notice I'm going to be using my password manager to get the information in there. So when you register and sign in, you will see you've got all your immunizations here besides COVID. But if you click on your COVID record, this is the QR code that you can use. You can print it out. There's here where it says print, or you can share it to your notes file, for example. But you can take your phone and if you don't print it out, I printed it out, but you can take your phone right up to that QR code and it will automatically open up your health app on your phone. And let me show you that. So I'm going to stop sharing this website. You're going to get this notice, add to wallet and health. And you'll see it's got the information that came off that QR code from that website. And what you do then, you just scroll to the bottom and you see where it says add to wallet and health. You tap that. And it gets added. And now under your summary on your health app, you see it shows 2 records because I put my husband's in there too, because he does not have an iPhone. So you can tap on that, it says show records. And here you are. It's showing the records from October, that was the booster, and the March, which was the second vaccination. And if I scroll up, it shows the February or the January one. And notice it will show what brand you had, Pfizer, and the lot number. Now that's in your health app, but it's also in your wallet. And that's where you've got your credit card stored. So if you're at the airport or something, or at the doctor's office or someplace where you have to show your vaccine, let me go to the wallet here. Tap on wallet. Now you'll notice that I've got a couple credit cards, but if you scroll down, you'll see that red that says vaccination card. That's the one from the health department. So here it is in your wallet with the QR code for somebody that wants to verify They can scan that, and that takes them to your vaccination record that shows the authorization from the health department. We had talked a couple months ago about using this commercial service called Vax Yes. And I have that one too, but now that the health department has that My IR net, I would recommend using the health department one. And I suspect it will take a couple weeks or a couple months before we see the second booster get filed in there. I'm not too sure how fast that works. Does anybody have an idea about that?
There are those of us here who never had our first booster sent properly from CVS to the state, and so they're still working on that. So I only show the first two shots.
Okay.
I can show mine, but then I think what Clara said was we probably will see the second booster before we see the first booster.
Oh, that's good to know. So that might be applied to some of you other folks too. While I'm in my wallet, just to show you one of the advantages of using the Apple credit card, there's also the Apple Cash Card, which all your little 3%, 2%, and 1%. I've got $78 in cash I can use just from using the Apple Card. You know, I used to have an Amazon reward card, but you're forced to buy everything at Amazon. And this is kind of handy for going shopping at CVS and around town.
And also
okay, so
and you can even use it at Amazon.
Yes. Apple support does have a good how-to step-by-step on how to go through the steps that I went with you. You know, when you print out your QR code from the health department, it looks like this. And that's what I did. That's what I did originally, just because I didn't realize you could scan it right from the website. So I have a copy of this too, besides the printed vaccine card. It seems like doctors' offices like to see the paper card so they can copy it themselves. But I see Dawn is on the call, and Dawn, you'll be pleased to know that there are 37 more emojis that have entered the arena. And I'm going to share so you can see some of them. Now, I don't know how relevant some will be a biting lip, a melting smiley face. Now, this might be used a lot because people do use that. I'm not too sure what these are.
Spill the beans.
Yeah. And here's a salute. These are bubbles. And does everybody know how to access your emojis?
No.
That's on your keyboard. Now, I discovered I had, when I was cleaning out my phone, I had eliminated my emoji keyboard. But if you go to your settings,
I think I have it.
if you go to settings, under you go. I'm under settings, under general, under keyboard. And you'll notice that I have two keyboards. And if I have English and emoji. And if you just have English, how many just have English? Don't have the emoji. You can tap on add new keyboard and look for the emoji one. Well, I've already added it, so it won't show up.
It's all the way down.
And I already have it added, so it's not showing up here. So to use your keyboard, we will go into, let's just go into notes. And we'll do a new note. So you see down below where there is now on the bottom of the screen, you'll see the microphone if you want to dictate. Hello, everybody. I am using my dictation feature, period. New paragraph. And the little smiley face is now your emoji keyboard. And the new ones are not grouped in any, they're kind of just all put in with all the other ones. I don't know, there's some people can do whole paragraphs in emojis, but I think Dawn will probably benefit from it more than some of us. Because you're very, very good with emojis. So knock yourself out with emojis. Use your emergency SOS. And that's if you want to call security. Now I have mine set up to have security called rather than 911. Settings again. In the section where general is on the top, scroll down to emergency SOS. Now, one of the new features in 15.4, so you can see where general
Control
is,
center?
and then keep scrolling down to emergency SOS.
Yep.
And now one of the new features, you can press and hold the side button and the either volume button to make an emergency call. So if I press, before it was a call with a hold, or it was you did 5 presses on the side key. Now the side key is the one on the right, facing your phone.
Yeah.
But now you can use the volume key and the side key together. And under emergency contacts, you know, normally you might have 911 if you don't live at Charlestown. And here I put in the security number. And you can add your health details and your medical ID and stuff in there also. It would make sense to be calling security rather than your daughter who, or son who might be an hour away if it truly was an emergency. But here I've got my husband set up also. So now if you've injured your arm and can't use both hands, well, I suppose you can by holding it, you know, like this with one hand. You could use the 5 taps on the side button. Now, if you have an Apple Watch, you can use your Apple Watch too. If that will automatically, if you fall, it'll automatically call an emergency number. Okay, let's see what else we've got here. I'm going to post a link to an article that has all the different features for 15 mentioned. There's really too numerous to mention. In fact, I'm going to share my screen so you can see some of the items here. This particular page is from the 9 to 5 website that has a lot of Mac content. And each one of these is a link to a new feature. And universal control support is something that they've been talking about for a long time, where you can control your iPad and your iPhone with your Mac keyboard and mouse. Now, I tried playing around with it this morning and I didn't feel comfortable enough with it to demonstrate it. But I don't know how many of us would really use that. What do you think, users? Are you going to pursue that?
No.
Hope or Walt, you're both pretty, spend a lot of time.
I'm comfortable using them side by side.
Yeah. Maybe we're set in our ways, but I don't see the advantage. I don't work on the kind of projects where I need to have control of all my devices on one keyboard. They have a new American Siri voice. The new voice is supposed to sound general neutral. Now, let me go back to sharing my screen again with the phone. Under Siri and search, and you see it right here in the middle.
Yep.
Now the Siri voice, we'll tap on that. I have it set for voice American and I have it set for voice number 4.
Hi, I'm Siri. Choose the voice you'd like me to use.
Here's the new voice, is voice number 5.
Hi, I'm Siri. Choose the voice you'd like to use.
There's just a little bit of a difference. I don't know. Here's 2.
Hi, I'm Siri. Choose the voice you'd like me to use.
So knock yourself out with that one to see what makes sense for you. So that's the new feature. Now, Hope was going to demonstrate a few things because there's a few features now in 15.4 that I kind of covet, but I do not have the latest phone. I have a 10. And some of these new features that Hope is going to demonstrate, you do need a 12 or higher, or an iPhone XS.
I've got mine right here. What is it? One of the things that I wanted to show was the focus, where I've got focus, so do not disturb is on. And this works, if I do it in one place, it goes for all my devices. So it's very handy. Let's see, here are the possibilities of the type of thing I want to focus on. But generally, I find that do not disturb is the easiest thing just to do. And when I click on that and go back out to the top, I'll see that do not disturb is on. And that means that it will send any of my phone calls for this meeting to email. And I won't be, you know, I do that also when I'm in the auditorium. Let's see, the Face ID with mask, if you go into settings, in the regular settings, one of the choices is Face ID and passcode. And so what I can do here is I have Face ID with mask set up. And I also have a pair of glasses added. And so as long as I'm looking squarely at my phone, it will open up. So when I'm wearing my mask.
And that option will only show up on the phones, the later phones. So that option doesn't show up on my phone.
Okay, so there's
But
that.
what about the iPad? I have a 15.4 brand new iPad, but I'm not seeing that option.
No, it only works on the iPhone.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
Text on an image, which only works on the newer phones, which I think is a great feature.
Here, and I can see copy, select all. And so if I do a copy with that, it will take that and I can put fugitive colors in a text document.
Wow.
And
So
now
you
if
can
I-
strip out the text on any photo or image. If you're on a website and there's a photo and there's text overlay, it will strip out the text that you can then manipulate however you want.
Mhm. Okay, it only picked up the word colors. I didn't have the fugitive well enough selected, but I started a new message and did a paste. So, but that's how it works. But it's a really nice feature that I like. And I do use it more for books than other things, but that's um, one of the ways that is a major way I use it.
It would be handy for medication bottles or
Yeah, I could see
products
that.
in the store that you wanted to use.
Okay, if you take a picture of something in the store, try to make sure that you're not in live, because it shakes a bit, and that doesn't work as well to do to take the text out of. So, for instance, I had a raspberry Danish, and I was trying to use that to pull up, and it wasn't doing it because it was, it was still moving slightly.
Good illustration of how it might work. If you got, you're over at your daughters or granddaughters and you've got a recipe or something in a journal or a book that you'd like to copy out, and this would be an illustration of how you can use that, stripping out the recipe
Oh, yeah.
without having to, just take a picture of it.
Or the text on the back of a picture. If you take a picture of the back of a picture, you can copy that out. And when I'm using photos, I'm usually trying to put in the metadata. And if somebody else has written those names out for me, it's really nice if I can do a copy and paste.
Oh, yeah, that is a good tip. Yeah. So what other kinds of things have you discovered in your fancy new phones?
I haven't, I think that most of the things were things that you mentioned that, I have my vaccination card in there and, I don't think I think you've pretty much covered them.
Okay, one of the things that I discovered, which is a nice feature for, it's under your, see where it's under. I would have everybody take a look at your accessibility features on your phone under settings. Under accessibility, I would encourage you to take a look at some of those and see what makes sense for you. And I especially like the text size.
But be careful if you do change the text size, because it will change the text in places where you may not expect it to change the text. So it made, I had to change mine back. I've bolded the text, but I don't have the text size changed.
Now, what I did is I changed where it says larger accessibility sizes. I made that addition. And then I don't have it up too far, but just enough that I don't always need my reading glasses to look at my phone.
Yep.
Because as Hope says, if you bump it up too high, there's a slider down on this lower. If you bump it up too high, it does get a little
Cumbersome.
cumbersome. Yes. There's a lot of features under accessibility I would recommend you play around with.
Enter my hearing aid whenever I get it updated or it does a new version.
How about some questions or comments at this point?
Hey, Ann,
Yes,
I noticed when you started off, you had a list of what were some of the new features. And I was trying to read down your list. And somewhere at the bottom of that list, it said magnifier. I thought it did.
yes.
And I was just curious.
Magnifiers on the pull-out screen, and you can change its zoom, it's what it's looking at. You can zoom it out and in very nicely.
Oh, okay, great.
Now, if you do a search, when you're in settings,
There is
there is a magnifier.
right.
It's easiest right on this pull-down screen.
On the control, yes, the
Yeah.
control center. I have it there, and what it does is it's got a magnifying glass, right? Yeah.
Mm-hmm. With a plus in it or something in it.
So I gather Hopes is more high tech because you have the newer version. That's, I get, right? That's
Well,
what
it's on the old one too.
well, I was wondering if it was just more in quotes high tech because it's now newer.
No, that feature is the same.
Okay, that's all.
That's very nice for reading medicine bottles.
Yes,
You can,
thank you.
Yeah. And will you be sending us that list, or can you send us that list?
yeah, yes, I will be.
Thanks. And your recording, so will this show up on the My Erickson videos, or?
No, there's a Apple user group YouTube channel that
Oh,
has some of the videos that we've done before. I try to clean up all the technical issues so that doesn't show up.
okay.
So next month, we're going to talk about the Apple Watch. That's a couple people have mentioned they'd be interested in learning more about it. Does anybody have an Apple Watch 7 among us? I think I have a 4, which has some features. I do not have the 7, which does even more, but
I think mine is only 3.
okay. And I think Hope you have a
The 4.
4 also, right?
Yep.
Yeah, with the price of technology these days, when I was working, I was an early adopter, but not anymore. You have to live with your technology a little longer.
The watch does for me what I want it to do.
Exactly.
And
Me too. Me too.
The new features haven't intrigued me enough to make me really want to get to it.
If you're using an Apple credit card, there is a new widget that will let you see what what categories and your outstanding balance is if you're interested. I don't need to have that on my home screen, so I don't use it, but I have been playing around with, I do have about the only widget I really pay attention to. I do have one on my screen that has the calendar, what's coming up on my calendar.
Yeah.
That's a nice widget. We've talked about
mine is slightly smaller. I have the half
Yeah.
size.
walk through how to play around with widgets. It's kind of fun just to see what's available and see if you like it or not. I find that, there's so many things that you can do with your phone to customize it that sounds kind of neat. But then I find I like it a little simpler. And I end up just staying with what I know and what I'm comfortable with. And yeah, it doesn't want to connect right this minute. You read about these apps where both Hope and I have used something called Reflector 4 to show our phones on the screen. And now let's see if this will work. So to play around with widgets. Now this widget that shows the time, that's, I learned about at another Apple user group meeting, and it's called Widget Smith. And I think it costs a few bucks, but you can customize your widgets, and you'll notice I have the time in a different font and a different color. But if we wanted to do more widgets, now these are the ones, let's do a search on widgets. Just, these are some possibilities that I have available if I wanted to swipe left on my phone to access your widgets that you have set up. You just swipe left, swipe to the right from the left on your iPhone, and you should get widgets. And the one that I do like is this one that has recent apps. I use that a lot because then you don't have to go search for them. And you notice there's a notes app, a weather app that I'm using. And the smaller, you can do it small, medium, or large. And I've got the Washington Post headline. And I listen to podcasts, and here's a couple that, you know, I still have some time left, so I can just tap on that and go right to it. I've got the battery indicator for my watch and my iPhone as a widget. And
Oh, I
here
got
I've got
that.
my Kindle. This is a real good book, by the way, called Red Notice by Bill Browder, who's written another book. And then if you want to edit your widgets, they work just like apps. You can either add or delete. And if I wanted to add, you see, you can't see it because the share screen is in the way, but there we go. Do you see that plus on the top?
Yes.
Mhm.
That's where you can add widgets. And you can have your photos. So there's quite a few that you can add here. And you can do different sizes. And there's the widget for the card balance. And see, all these are additional apps that you can add as widgets. So I would suggest you play around with them. I'm going to delete this one because I don't use it. And if you wanted to make them done, you can edit the widget.
Oh, I should say.
That's handy to have. Of course, I have it on my watch too, but I would encourage you to play around with widgets just to see what some of the possibilities are. And also, I would encourage you to join the new Google groups for CCI residents, and Hope, maybe you could mention that.
Oh, yes. The communications committee is starting a just a general chat board, and if you're interested in, right now there's not much activity. I think Charlie Eichenlaub sent out a notice that the latest resident directory was available at the lobby desks.
Yeah.
But it just, if you're interested, just send me an email with the email of yours that you want to use, and I will be glad to add you to that group. And I don't know how active or not it's going to be. If you're concerned about the number of emails you might get, I can always set you to digest. So you'd only get it when there were 3 or 4 messages.
So Hope, it's just a group that you send emails back and forth to each other. The group is,
If you have a, if you can log into Google Groups, and it will, just like the Apple group, appear as a group. So actually, so we can go here, and Anne is a member, so she can go into it. And
Okay.
so those are the messages. Right now, most of them have been testing of it. I think David put something about 3G sunset, so, but it's for whatever, it's a general topic one.
okay.
there's nothing else. Thank you for coming today. I always appreciate seeing your faces and for supporting this effort. And we'll see you next